guys, welcome back to my channel. So today right here I have with me the Infinix Hot 11s, and in this video I'm going to give you a full review about this phone. And I've been using this phone since I did the unboxing. That's almost around a week. It's been a week and I've been using this phone as my daily driver, and taking pictures with it and using it like this is my full-time phone. Like I'm not using any other phone. So I'll give you my full review and the opinion about this phone. Firstly, if you talk about the design of the phone, here it is. I have the case on it. So as you can see here the the this is with the phone with the case on. I'll just take off the case so you can see the design. I showed it in the unboxing video, so I'll show it now as well. Like now you can very clearly see the wavy pattern, and the name of this color is a green wave. And this is the reason why the name is given, because of this wave pattern. And the fingerprint, the back fingerprint scanner, the 50 megapixel main camera, the rest are macro and depth camera and all that. And this is the quad LED flash, the SIM tray over here. And this is the display, the front display. This has a hole punch. This is a hole punch. The only reason it's very hard for you to see on this in the video is because of the wallpaper I'm using. It's kind of black, so it's very hard for anyone to figure it out unless and until you have a white background. And this is the the power button and the unlock button, and the volume rocker. And this is the this phone has a USB type C. Let me just focus. Yes, USB type C, and also has a headphone jack. And this phone has stereo speakers as well. So as you can see here, that this is the display. This is almost a 6.7-inch display. It's not like the full 6.9-inch display of the Infinix Note 10, but this is still big enough. There's only a 0.2-inch difference between the displays, but that's only, you can notice it only if have both of the phones side by side. But mostly it's almost same. And you can see here the display and the display quality. This is the full HD plus display with 90 hertz with a hole punch. So you can really notice the the smoothness. I have compared this phone with some other phones that I have with me. But very clearly, like if I open Twitter or even the YouTube app, or go through the I don't know whether you can notice this in the video or not, but when I'm using it in real time, I can really notice the difference. Most phones, what would they were, I would feel like I'm using them, it's working normally, like there is nothing much going on and it's fine. But at some point, like when the phone heats up or something like that, or even if even there are some phones that I had that I'm using normal for social browsing and all that, but the phone would heat up. And not to a point where you would be like concerned like why this phone is heating up and all that, but it would heat up to a point where you can really if I have the YouTube app open and try to scroll around, like as simple as going through the menu. This is where some apps stutter. Like you would really notice the the processor of the phone, it's really struggling for it to keep up with me. But maybe this phone might hang or something like that, but at least for the time I've been using this phone, I haven't noticed any any slight hanging. The phone does heat up and all that, but it doesn't throttles the performance like by a lot, in my experience. And the software also, like the Infinix Hot 11s, the software that phone had was kind of, that was also XOS, but that phone had ads, like this in the app drawer there would be ads on the top. If you go into some the side, the zero screen, this is the zero screen, this is not the Google feed, but here you would find some ads. I haven't used Hot 10s myself, but I've seen other people around me using the Hot 10s, and there were ads on the phone. And but since the yeah, ever since from the Note 10, the Note 10 series, after that I even the Hot 11s does not have any ads in the software, which is good for me. The only thing is like I would prefer if there was an option go into settings and be able to change to the Google Discover feed. That's one of the things that I would prefer to have. Like a lot of what other brands are doing, they are replacing their own feed with the Google feed, or even if they have their own feed, they would allow users to change it to the Google Discover feed. That's one of the things, but it's not that much of bothering to me. But it sometimes I do feel like there should be an option to change it to the Google Discover feed. That's one of the things. And as far as the specification of the phone, the 4128 variant, there is I did some people did, some YouTubers did get the 6128 variant. But at least till now, at this moment, Infinix hasn't announced any storage variant with the 6128. of this phone. But maybe sometime later they might release it or might announce it, I'm not so sure. But at least till at this point, the point at which I'm making this video, there is no such variant. And if you ask me about the the processor, the G88, if you can, I don't know if you remember or not, the the combination, like the 4128 storage variant, the G88 and the 50 megapixel main camera with a 90 hertz display refresh rate. These specifications were also used in the Redmi 10. Maybe I'm not so sure about the RAM, whether the Redmi 10 had a 6 GB RAM or a 4 GB RAM variant or not. But if you forget about the RAM, the 128 storage, the 90 Hz display refresh rate, the 50 megapixel main camera, the Helio G88, the same set of specifications were used in the Redmi 10, and the same set of specification is used in the Infinix Hot 11s. So you can almost say, if you don't take software into consideration, the MIUI versus XOS and all those differences, the rest of the things are almost same. You could say this is almost a Redmi 10, Redmi 10 with at a lower price. Like this phone, even if you get it at a full price, its original full price, it's 26,000. And the Redmi 10, it came out at came at the price of almost at least 30 to 33,000. Like around, it was closer to 35,000. So it's starting at 35, it's going closer to 40. So if at that time when that phone was released, there wasn't any real competition. But at that time, the only competition that at that time, it was the Realme C25s. Yes, there were differences like the G85 versus G88 and the display refresh rate and the storage variant, all that. But now Infinix has released a phone which is almost has the exact one on a specification but at a lower price. So I think in Pakistan or in all those markets where Infinix is releasing this Hot 11s, and compared to Redmi 10, it would be cheap and it would be better. And even in my experience, I have had that there are some issues with the MIUI software. That's what I have faced. Like I personally have some I have faced some issues like the random issues on different phones of MIUI. So at least till now, this is my second phone that I'm using with XOS. The first was the Note 10, now is the Hot 11s, and till now I haven't noticed, like in both the phones, I haven't noticed any major software glitches, issues on the Infinix phones, like both the Note 10 and the Hot 11s. So till now, the Infinix phone with its software is going really good, in my experience. And I haven't taken some I've used this phone for a week. So I have taken some camera samples, like some photos, some videos, some portrait mode. So I'll show you those photos and videos right now. And as you now as you have seen the photos and videos, what my opinion about the photos and videos are. Yes, right now I haven't compared the photos and videos to any other phone, like side by side, the the camera quality, the image processing, the which which colors does this phone with the 50 pixel, which colors does it, is it a saturated look, is it a real life look, or what it is. That I would do in a later video when I have comparing some the phones, and I'll tell you my opinion about it. But what I've seen is I have noticed that this phone, at least while recording the video, I haven't seen any special some stabilization. But at this price, none of the phones, no matter how big the camera sensor is, no matter how much the megapixel is, there is no optical image stabilization. Even there is no electronic image stabilization, which is stabilization based on software. So that's not much of a big deal unless a brand comes and at this price gives you optical image stabilization or even electronic image stabilization. Till that time, there is no much need of having that stabilization. And this phone goes up to 2K. So and this phone or even does not give you the 60 FPS. That's one of the things, but that's something it depends on brand to brand. Like Realme, that phone gave with the Realme C25s gave you a 60 frames per second option with a 14 megapixel sensor and a Helio G85. So I have no doubt that this processor is G88 is also capable, with the 50 megapixel sensor, is also capable of giving you a 60 frames per second option. But some brands, a lot of brands do not give you that option. So That's one of the thing. But what Infinix gives you is a higher resolution. Yes, a lot of people will say that they cannot notice that much difference between like 720, 1080, or even 2K, but at least they're giving you an option. That's another thing. It's not like they're not giving you 60 fps but also not giving you a high resolution. They're giving one of the two things. You might agree with Infinix with what they've done, or you might not agree with them. And that's about the camera. And the front megapixel is the 8 megapixel sensor. It's like the usual. And one thing I've noticed is the portrait mode on this phone. I've used that portrait mode on objects, and portrait mode was one of those things that a lot of brands they gave on their phone. But the edge detection, like figuring out where is the edge, where is the object stopping at, and where is it the background, it would really differ. Like some brands would get it exact right, some would really mess it up. But Infinix, I've seen that it does really, detects objects edges really well, and does make sure you get a perfect portrait. I haven't. Yes, the flagship phones will have a better portrait, look and all that. But I think Infinix is doing really great for the price. At what price this phone is, and that's about the camera. And as far as the battery, this phone has a 5000 mAh battery, which if you think about it, it's not a lot bigger. And I've used this phone for a week. If you use it, have a medium usage or a low usage, you can easily get out 2 days of it. But if you use it really heavily, like heavy to the point where it's full brightness at 90 hertz, the animation is fast, you're using it for gaming, because obviously the G88 is focused for gaming. So you run run PUBG on it, and by the way, PUBG runs at 60 fps. The only thing is that this Infinix gaming software does not show you the 60 fps, or does not show you which fps it's running at. But I have it's very easy for me to notice the difference between a 30 fps and a 60 fps, and this phone runs it at 60 fps smoothly. Even after heating up, it doesn't do a throttle and all that. So running PUBG at its best settings, getting maximum fps at the full resolution, and using the camera, and the display is 90 hertz display refresh rate and all that. The 5000 mAh battery gets you. Even if you use it heavily, you can start with 100% and end the day easily with having almost closer to 20%. Even if you have kind of a medium usage, or mixed usage, like sometimes you're using it, like you're not using the phone at full brightness all the time, you're not playing games almost all day, like you have mixed use, sometimes social media, sometimes navigation, sometimes gaming, sometimes normal browsing on the phone. You could easily get to 30% at the end of the day. And uh, if you want, you can even with that 30% you can get through the next day, like half of the day, like almost 1.5 day. So it's anywhere between 1 day to 2 days. That depends on the usage you're having on the phone. So that's all about the phone. And what my final opinion is, like right now, if you think about it, the specifications this phone has, and the only thing that comes to mind is the Redmi 10. The Redmi 10, and even the Realme C25s. The Realme C25s is for 128 variant, not the 464, because now it's not available. So if you think about it, this phone is best value for money right now at this point. It's better than the Redmi 10 straight away. Like you can easily forget about the Redmi 10. It's not that much worth of getting like getting the Redmi 10. It's not that much difference. You can have the similar experience on this phone. And as far as the Realme C25s, it's a little bit priced almost a few rupees higher than this, but that one has a Helio G85 with a 48 megapixel main camera. So those two things are the only things that are a bit lower than this. The rest of the things are also low, like the display refresh rate, it does not have that. But if you think about it, if you're looking for a great value for money, I think this phone at this moment would be best for you if you get it. Whether you get it at a in a sale, or whether you get it at full price, this phone is best value for money, and you would not have any issues using this phone at least for the next year or so. So that's all for today. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.